Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. You are listening to High Vibin' It with Kelsey Aida and Lindsay Robinson. We have a really great episode for you today, as usual. And this week, it's just me and Linz, and we thought we would go to town on the topic of Feng Shui because now that everyone is spending more time at home, a lot of you I know are working from home when maybe you didn't before. It's really important that we feel good in our space and that we love being home, especially when we have to be home so much more of the time. And Feng Shui, if you don't know, is the ancient art of basically arranging your space so that the chi, the prana, the energy can flow in a really harmonious, beneficial way so that you can feel good, so that you can manifest your best life. So, Feng Shui really ties into manifesting in a huge, huge way, and we'll get to that. But we kind of figured since I'm like really obsessed with Feng Shui and Lindsay's like a little bit obsessed with Feng Shui, that Lindsay would ask me some questions and I'll kind of act like the guest today. And we'll just go to town on Feng Shui tips and tricks and things that can help you feel better in your home, especially now that we're halfway through the year and you're spending more time there and it's summer. Like, it's just time. It's time to Feng Shui.
I'm sorry. You're just so funny.
Now's the time.
Now's the time. Yes, let's take a stand on Feng Shui. So I know as much as, I don't know if I know more or less than the average Joe when it comes to Feng Shui. Like, I know some of the colors, I know some of where, like, of course, the things that are most important to me are the things I know exactly where to put. Like, I'm in my office, my business, I know what to put in the money corner and like where the money corner is and stuff, because that's what I want to bring in. Now, in my living room, I might have different focuses. Like, isn't there like a family section, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like connection or something like that? So that
Yeah.
would be more of a priority. Now, we're going to go over the basics, right? And so
Yeah.
everybody can kind of be on the same page with what's important to them and what they want to make sure. But we also, I feel like, are inevitably going to talk about and should talk about what happens if you put something that's not supposed to go there, because that can also affect the space. And we've all walked into rooms or into houses where we're just like, you can feel the energy either in a good way or in like oh, this is like negative. But not necessarily that the people are negative or the houses, but the energy is negative. Like, I've certainly felt that way in my own house when my husband, I love you, Abel. My husband decided to put the couch horizontally in front of the front door because we had a very small apartment in Los Angeles. And so we had a big giant couch that he inherited from his parents. And he put it like right as you walk in the front door, you have a huge couch right in front of you. And you had to like walk around it to sit down and like watch the TV, which was on the wall directly opposite. So it was just like, we had it against the wall, which felt so much better. But he decided, well, no, because you can see the TV straight on. And that was just like, I could feel that. And I'm sure everyone can get on board with that idea. Like, even if you don't know what the map is completely, you know the feelings. And so today, Kelsey's going to help us hopefully figure out how to open up the space and allow the energy to flow in a nice, light way, right?
Yeah, well, think of it this way, going back to your couch example and how everyone can kind of sense what's better Feng Shui and what's not based on like how you feel. Like, having your back to the door is never a great feel.
Right.
Because you don't know what's going to come in. You don't know who's going to come in. It feels very unsafe. You feel unprotected. And if you just think of when you go to a restaurant, like, everyone wants the same table because that table has the best Feng Shui. It's like the back corner, the comfy booth with the big
You can see the
seats.
whole restaurant.
You can see the whole restaurant. You're really far from the door. Like, that's the position of power in any room, where you can see the incoming and outgoing quote unquote opportunities that the door represents. And also, you can be like the king or queen of your space and be really safe where your back is protected at all times. So that gives you like the upper hand, and that is like a position of power. So in your office and in your living room and in your bedroom, you always want to be able to see the door from wherever you're sitting or
I
laying.
can see it from my Zoom camera.
Yeah, and if you can't see it, like, let's say if the door is behind you, you can at least put a mirror somewhere in front of you so you can see the door even if the door is behind you. So that is a Feng Shui hack right off the bat, where basically there's a cure in Feng
Yes.
Shui for everything. So if you can't figure out how to get it to be lined up in accordance with Feng Shui, there's always like a trick where you can kind of maneuver things to make it work. And mirrors are a good tool, but they're also a really complicated tool. Like there's so many rules when it comes to mirrors. I don't even want to get into that. But yeah, that's a great point. Everyone's experienced this already. Like you can tell when a space feels better or it feels worse or it feels lighter or it feels more dense or it feels more energized or it feels more like sleepy, you know. And in different rooms you want them to feel different ways. Like you don't want your living room to have the same energy as your bedroom, because
Right.
your bedroom is for like sleeping and making love, and well, that's what my bedroom's for. And then like your living room is for maybe hanging out with friends and family, you know, watching TV, playing games. It's more of like an active
Yeah.
energy, which would be considered yang, a yang energy. And then in the bedroom, you want it to be more yin energy, like relaxing,
Okay, so tell
slow,
us the
calm.
difference between the yin and the yang energies.
Yeah, so it's basically the like universal principle of yin and yang, masculine and feminine, the sun, the moon. So yin energy is the feminine energy, which is more slow, which is more dark. Well, I'm using feng shui terminology here, which is more maybe small, which has less moving objects. It's just like yin rooms are the ones that you want to relax in, basically. So like a man cave would be like a really yin room. Like usually it's in the basement, like there's a big comfy couch, like they just lounge around in there. It's kind of like denser energy. It might be a little bit darker. There's not a lot of windows. And then yang energy would be like, right now I'm looking at my living room. It has tons of natural light. Um, there's a horizontal plant. Horizontal things represent yang energy. Um, there's just,
Hold on. Do you mean vertical?
yes, because I look, you saw my hands.
And I know that things that grow straight up are more masculine energies
Yes.
anyway. So I was like,
Yes.
wait, I think she's talking about
Yes.
up and down. Okay,
My
go ahead.
bad. That's sorry. Yeah, so
Proceed.
more vertical stuff has to do with yang energy. So this could be like a big armoire or like a palm tree or a snake plant or a bookshelf or something like that. Um, and yang energy is also just more light, bright, fast moving, energized, I would say.
So the yin is the black part of the yin yang.
Yes.
I
And the
just put
yang
two and two
is the
together.
white part, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think you're correct.
So it doesn't mean you can't have things of both in each room, right?
I mean, you definitely need to have balance in each room, but there's going to be like a skew towards one way or the
Yeah.
other,
Because if you look
depending
at the
on.
yin yang, it's like a whole bunch of one color and a little dot of another. So I think that's, and I'd never thought about that before until this conversation, but I think that's just saying like, of course you should have an offset of something else, but just know that the majority is going to be this default energy. Interesting.
Yeah, see, it's all coming together. It all ties in. Like numerology ties into feng shui a lot too, because like the numbers on your house represent certain things when you add them up and bring it down to a single digit. So, like, for example, my house is 306. So 3 and 6 together make 9. So my house would be a number 9 house. And
Weird.
number
Okay.
9 comes with its whole range of energies and purposes and benefits. And why is that weird?
Because I'm doing mine right now.
Oh,
So 5905 is a 1 plus a 9, which would be a 10, which would be a 1, correct?
correct.
So mine's a 1. I don't know what that means, but it's a 1.
Well, Google it. I always just go on Google and I say feng shui number 1 house or feng shui number 3
Cool.
house or whatever. And you can find lots of articles that demonstrate the significance of that number. And different houses with different numbers are good for different types of people during different stages of life. So, for example, I was thinking of moving into a new apartment, and the one that I was considering added up to a 3. So it would be a house number 3, and it said, in number 3 houses, they're really good for active people who want to be more social. But the shadow side is like you might not get a lot of work done, like you might be
Yeah.
really busy partying and entertaining. So like if that's your goal to get work done, like maybe a number 3 house is not the best to move into, but if you're trying to be more social and make new friends, like maybe it is,
Hang
you
on,
know?
Kel. So I used to live in 110 and a half Maple. So how would I add that up if it's a half?
I've never dealt with half numbers. I feel like if I was going to do that, I would just disregard the half.
Okay.
So it would just be the main number.
Got it. I know
Because it's
it,
still like the number of like your building.
yeah.
You know,
It's
you're
pretty
just in one
common in
part
the
of it.
Midwest for there to be like half numbers.
Yeah.
I've lived in a couple of them. So
Instead of
I
like an
just
A
wondered.
or a B or something.
Yeah, exactly. 110 and a half. Well,
Interesting.
actually, yeah, I think it was because they're the old timey, like everything's connected. If you went to like the Wild West, how everything would be connected. That's how it looked when I lived. Probably in Ohio too, right? All that
Probably.
connected stuff. Oh,
I
you
mean,
live in like a modern city.
I live in a city, so.
If you go to the more smaller like towns and stuff, I bet you anything you'll see that connected building where the stairs are on the outside going up, but each building has like a half for the doorway in between each store. There's like a half. It's so funny. Anyway, so I don't want to go over the whole map because I feel like that would take up a lot of time, and we can link it. You know, we can show people the reference point that they can kind of go over themselves. But let's talk about let's say you're stepping into a new space or you're thinking about feng shuiing your place. What are the first things that you think of? What are the first things you should do?
Yeah, so the first thing you should do if you are about to feng shui your space is you want to start with decluttering, cleaning, cleansing the energy, and just getting rid of all the unnecessary stuff. Because in feng shui, clutter is the number one enemy. And anytime you go into a space that's so cluttered, like you can feel how much more dense and busy it feels. Yeah. And that's just not great for the nervous system.
It blocks whatever you're trying to bring in. So.
And if there's so much stuff in your house, energy really can't flow properly and you're going to feel bogged down. And it's interesting because feng shui works both ways. So let's say in your mind, you feel really cluttered. That's going to translate into your space looking really cluttered. Or vice versa, if your space gets really cluttered, it could make your mind feel really cluttered. It's like when you're happy, you smile, or you could smile and it makes you happy. Like it goes in both directions. And it's like everything is energy, right? So whatever's going on your inside is directly reflected on your outside via your space. So if your space feels really fresh and clean and happy and energized and light, like that's probably a reflection of how you're doing in your life. If you're really depressed, you might become a hoarder. There might be really unhealthy
I seriously
food
thought
everywhere.
You were going to say a whore. If you're depressed, you might become a whore. No, that's not where you were going, and I'm relieved.
Usually depressed people have a low libido, so you probably wouldn't become a whore.
What's the opposite of a whore? A nun? Oh gosh. Thank God.
But what I was trying to say is if you're on the other end of the spectrum, let's say you're really depressed. Like I know when I have days where I don't feel good, like the first thing to go is my house. Like the dishes start piling up. There's clothes everywhere. The windows aren't open. Like the best thing you can do to start in your house, to go back to your question, is to declutter and get rid of stuff. So I want to dive into a few questions that can help you do that, because I know that it's easier said than done for some people to let go of things or to figure out what they're going to need in the future or what they still need, or somebody gave this to me, should I keep it or not? Like all of those things. So I actually wrote an article about this on my blog, and it's called 8 Questions to Help You Declutter for Clarity. So I'll just dive into a few of them, not all 8, but if you want to read them, go to kelseyayida.com and then find the search bar and then just search for declutter. And it's like the only article about that, so it should pop up. But some of my favorite questions to ask are to go through your house and look at every item and be like, does this bring joy to my life? Or is it something that makes my life easier? So for example, a kitchen knife.
Marie Kondo does that. Is that what, does she do feng shui, or is it just like organization? Do you know?
It is feng shui.
It is? Oh,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
This is definitely like a Marie Kondo jam for sure.
Yeah.
So for me, like a kitchen knife, I don't really love cooking. So when I look at a kitchen knife, I'm like, oh, this brings so much joy to my life. But it does make my life easier because without a knife, it's going to be really hard to
You just
cut
have to,
anything.
you just have to gnaw it. Just chew it until it's broken up.
But then it's like some of my house plants, like they don't really make my life easier, but they definitely make me feel better and they bring joy to my life. So of course I got to keep those around. That's why I put them in here.
Love it.
So it's like, does it bring joy, or does it help make your life easier?
I like that.
If it doesn't do any of those things to serve a purpose, then why is it in your house?
Right.
And then questioning, why is this here? Is this here because I feel guilty to get rid of it because my stepmom gave it to me? Not a good reason to keep something, by the way. And then something good that you can go into if you run into that dilemma is like, could someone else put this to better use than me? Could someone else be needing this more than I need it? And then you can donate it and then you feel better, like, oh, well, I wasn't going to use it, but now somebody else can.
Right.
Reduce, reuse, recycle, people. That's what I always
like
say.
That. So what if stepmom comes over and she's like, hey, where's that salad bowl I gave you?
I mean, I have no remorse. I would just be like, oh, I don't know. Or I gave it to a friend who really loved it, or it broke. I don't know. I don't like to keep things in my house that people give me if I really don't love them.
Yeah. I think you get to a certain age where you're just like, I don't have time to. It also comes with that like people pleasing side,
Right.
I used
That's
to
like
be
a
the person that
codependent
was
thing.
like,
If you like have to keep everything everyone gives you.
I used to be the person that was like, well, let me just keep it in this drawer in case they ever like, I don't want them to feel bad. But I'm like, what? I don't have time. I don't have time to worry about what someone else is going to think about what I have in my house for 5 minutes, and then they're going to leave and never think about it again. Exactly. So yeah, it just comes a point where you're just like, what would make me feel good? And what would make me feel good is getting it out. And then everybody also knows the feeling of when they do declutter and get rid of stuff. How good does that feel? Like you feel your energetic body knows what's going on, and they can definitely feel.
Yeah. I mean, that's the appeal of minimalism, is the less physical stuff you have that is created from dense physical energy, the more light you're going to feel because you have less baggage, literally. That's the whole point. And everyone's practiced minimalism when they go on a trip. You just bring that week's worth of clothing, you bring your toothbrush, you bring your favorite hairbrush, like you just bring the essentials and you have a great time. And then you come home to all your other stuff that you don't really actually need.
Gosh, that's so true.
Like if you've ever been on a vacation, you've already practiced minimalism and essentialism, like at its finest.
Yeah, I'm terrible at packing though. I'm just like, how many pairs of shoes do I need? Well, I might want to wear this. Things I've never worn in like 6 months. I'm like, I might want that.
Right. Okay. So speaking of 6 months, another great question to ask yourself is, have I used this in the last year? I was going to say 6 months, but some places are seasonal. So sometimes you won't use things for 6 months, but a year is going to cover the whole 4 seasons. So if you haven't used it in a year, you really don't need it. Yeah. Like someone else could be putting this to good use. It's just taking up space in your house. It's dragging you down unnecessarily. And we don't need that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So
here's
if you
my
haven't
problem
used
with
it
that.
in a year, it's got to go.
Here's my like attachment to holding on to stuff is the second I get rid of it, I look for it without even knowing I'm looking for it. Maybe it's like a subconscious thing where I'm like, oh, of course, now I want to wear it when I've gotten rid of it 2 months ago. Has that ever happened to you where you get rid of something and then you finally like get the idea to wear it and you don't have it anymore?
No.
No, it happens to me all the time. Because I actually get the nerve to throw stuff out, and then I'm like a week or 2 later, I'm like, oh yeah, what happened to that shirt? Oh man, like I just threw it away or threw it out or donated it or something.
No,
but
I like
it's just a small
my wardrobe, so I usually don't miss things.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person that needs like 5 favorite shirts, and I'm good forever.
That's not a
comfortable
lot.
Shirts.
That's perfect.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm minimalist with clothes, but like if I get rid of something, it's like, oh, there goes my number 5 shirt. Sorry.
So you don't have that many to begin with.
I just,
Sounds good.
well, I do, but I just keep them in the closet and take up space. So that's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. Everybody should definitely do this. And it's just a small feeling. Like once it happens, I'm like, oh man, I don't have that shirt. I forget about it. And then it's like the
Right.
last stitch effort to like wear it. And then you're like, okay, well, never mind.
Right.
On to the next.
Yes. So those are a few of my questions to start with. Is it useful? Do you love it? Have you used it in the last year? Can someone else benefit from it more than you? Taking the more selfless approach, that'll make you feel good. And yeah, start there. And also like deep clean. Like I'm talking dirt, I'm talking bleaching the bathroom, I'm talking mopping the floors, cleaning the windows,
Cleaning out the
opening the
fridge.
windows, cleaning out the fridge, cleaning the baseboards. Like deep clean is so good for the chi in your house. And then if you want to talk about energetically cleansing, that's when you can start to use your sage. You can smudge some sage. You can use Palo Santo. If you don't want to do smoke, they make those in sprays. So you can spray it, mist it around. Um, yeah. And letting light into your house is the number one way to cleanse the energy. So open the windows, open the blinds.
I love opening the windows.
Yeah, it feels good. Hey there, thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to watch the extended version where you get the full podcast episode in a video format, just go to patreon.com/high vibe. The link is in the description. That's where you can become a supporter of the show, listen to all the episodes via video format, and each week you get extended versions of the show, meaning you get to see the pregame behind the scenes, and also you get an extended interview with whoever we're guesting, or if it's me and Lindsay, we usually pull cards for you guys, fun stuff like that. So go check it out. There's lots of cool goodies, including a free copy of my book, a free audio hypnosis from Lindsay. She's a hypnotherapist. And yeah, we just want to give you all the goods, all the content. So head over to patreon.com/high vibe to become a Patreon.
Or if you'd rather listen to the rest of this episode, head over to highvibinit.com where you'll see all the links to everywhere that it's getting streamed. Click your favorite one and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.